Hey everyone, welcome back to the Bimmer Barn, and for those of you that are new here, my name is Chris and I love hoarding BMWs. Recently I was able to find one, as you can tell by the title of this video, and actually I found it on Facebook Marketplace the day after I posted a video about how I sold my 550i, and the only car I would want to get would be like a 535 Xi Wagon.
Flashback.
Would love to get my hands on a 535 Xi Wagon. So I guess in a way my prayers were answered, because we were able to scoop this car up for an amazing deal under $1,000, and although it doesn't start, it appears to be in pretty good condition, and I can't wait to get this thing fixed up. I think it's going to be a great camping or road trip vehicle. So we already have the car here, but to tell you a little bit about buying it in Jacksonville is pretty cool actually. The owner himself, he's a big BMW nut, and he actually had a few BMWs for himself and his family, so it's really cool to meet another enthusiast and kind of connect with him. Obviously he was aware that the car was not in the best condition. He told me that the car hadn't been started in a while, it was turning over but it wasn't starting, and that the last time that the car did drive, it appeared to have blown turbos, like some white smoke coming out of the turbos, which isn't uncommon for these N54s, but I'm just hoping it's not a sign of something else. And what was funny was that when we met the guy, actually, he also had an outdoor cat who was nice enough to hop in the car, and he was pretty well at home, I guess, just like my animals are when I'm here working in the garage. So that was pretty funny to see as well. But luckily we got the car home safe, and now we can go ahead and take a look at it, do a little walk around, maybe give it a code scan and see what's wrong with it, because if it's something simple, maybe we can just fix it today. So here it is, my 2008 535 Xi Wagon, and looking around the body, it's in really good condition. Actually, you'd probably be surprised by how many miles are on this car, because in fact it's over 200,000. And the reason for that is I think this car was mainly taken on road trips by the previous owner. They did probably about 60,000 miles in about 4 years of ownership, or maybe 50,000 miles in 4 years. So that's a lot of miles for someone to be putting on one car when they have a lot of other cars at their disposal. Now that being said, it has been neglected a little bit, so you can see the headlights are a little bit faded, the paint is starting to get faded as well, but overall it's just been sitting a while. And I think that it was on a different set of wheels, because these were swapped back on when I came to purchase it. And just taking a quick look inside the car, you'll see that it is overall in great condition in there as well. Probably the driver's seat shows the most signs of wear, with some of these little rips here, the leather coming up, but I think that could be easily repaired, and same as the driver's seat. But overall I would probably want to do M Sport interior conversion on this car, because I'm not a huge fan of how the factory comfort seats ride, nor how the factory steering wheel looks. But beggars can't be choosers, because this car came to us at an amazing deal, and although it's not running, I think it's going to be the perfect project for the channel. Now the rear of the car, plenty of space back here as well, just like the E65 series, which I'm a big fan of. You can definitely put plenty of people in the back and they're going to be comfy, but now since it's going to be a wagon, you're going to have plenty of headroom as well. So very cool. You'll start to notice some of the differences between the 550i, our previous build, and this one. For example, this car doesn't have these sunshades like the previous car did. So you'll notice that this car is maybe missing a couple packages, but that's not a big deal, because this thing is a wagon. So it just has even more function, including something I'm about to show you. Well, I was hoping to show you this feature, but I don't think we have enough battery juice to do it. As you can see, there's two struts for the trunk here, and actually this one has some wires, like a harness, going into the strut, because this is a hydraulic strut that has a pump which is able to raise it. I don't think, maybe it's a motor, maybe I'm mistaken, but again, there's not enough juice to lift this thing right now. But as you can see, it also has the button to go down on its own. The problem is that actually one of the clips has broken for this thing right here, so the arm falls off really easily and it doesn't work perfectly each time, makes a little noise. So that's going to be something for us to investigate, hopefully dial in, because really cool feature to have is being able to have that automatic lift gate, which is actually the first wagon I think to have this feature, because you can get it on other cars such as the E39 wagon, but it's optional. So I think it might be a base feature on this car. Anyways, let's go ahead now. We'll look at the interior because you know what? It looks really nice in here. Again, one of the first things you'll notice is the iDrive screen. It has the smaller 5.5-inch screen versus I think the 8-inch, which comes on some of the more premium E60 models. But this is an LCI car still, so we do have the upgraded shifter and the transmission mechanism. Obviously, it's a 535 Xi, which is only an LCI motor, and the LCI interior as well, which holds up really well over time and looks smooth too. So we'll put the key in because unfortunately this car does not have comfort access, and go ahead, put the ignition on. It is gonna give us a transmission malfunction, I believe, and I think that the iDrive doesn't have enough juice to power on here, so we might have to hook it up to a battery tender. Maybe I can give you guys a jump start really quick and you guys can tell me what you think is wrong with the car. But overall, I do want to scan the car. While I grab my scanner as well, we'll do both of those and hopefully figure out why this car doesn't start. And you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking it's got to do with something right under that seat. All right, so when I bought the car, this is actually what it was doing. The owner actually put in a fresh battery so that it could turn over for us. And I heard the engine and it sounds like it has compression, so that's a good sign. But now we're gonna go ahead and scan the car with ISTA and determine what the fault codes are and see if we can determine what the issue is and maybe get the car started. Damn, now ISTA did just finish reading and unfortunately it looks like the DME is not responding according to the readout here. That's pretty frustrating. Let's go ahead and display the fault memory. No communication with engine, parking gear, DSC control unit under voltage. So I'm sure that it has a ton of fault codes. We don't see any fault codes from the DME because obviously I guess that's not communicating. Why don't we go ahead now? Let's go ahead and do a fault clear, and that way we can get a better idea of what kind of hard faults it has. Maybe get that DME to wake up. So now with a lot less fault codes, we can go ahead, display the fault memory here. Well, I guess we don't see a lot. We just don't see communication to the DME. Obviously, all the other modules are going to try to communicate with it. I think our next bet, since all these things are telling us that the DME is not communicating, is we should probably just go out, pop the hood, and check the DME and make sure that it's there and installed first of all. And I guess we could probably check for power too and see if it's getting voltage to turn it on. And you know, obviously at that point, that appears to be our issue. So let's go ahead and investigate that DME box, I think in the corner over here. Now I know some of you right now might be telling me or screaming at the computer monitor to get me to check the fuses first rather than taking off all these panels and such. But you know, the problem is that with a car having sat for so many months, possibly years, we're worried about rats or other, you know, pests getting in, and especially wires. They love wires. So we're gonna check for the worst case scenario now and get the DME uncovered just to see and make sure that everything is good up there. Well, as soon as I opened the compartment box and saw this view, I think I knew what our problem was. Look at that white corrosion. That is what we would call water damage. And if I look at the bottom here, there's actually still water in the bottom of this E-box. It's called electrical box because it's supposed to have these components. And I thought it was supposed to be somewhat sealed or waterproof, but I guess it just wasn't enough to keep out Florida's rain and thunderstorms and all that. You know, there's even a little corrosion on the pins of the fuse here. Unfortunately, I think it's safe to you know, deem this DME damaged. So what I might do now is disconnect the battery. We can pull out the DME, maybe bring it over to the bench and just see if there's any water in the connector, or hey, maybe we might be able to put this thing in a bag of rice. Let's go ahead and try to get it out. Well, I guess I should start shopping for a new DME for this car, probably an MSD81, because as you can tell, there's definitely some corrosion in here, this fine dust around the board and the casing. I'm assuming that there's more corrosion behind it on the underside of this board that we can't see, but who knows, maybe I can stick this in a bag of rice and it might keep working, but the chances of that happening are very unlikely. So I am going to start looking for a good deal on a used DME. Hopefully we can get one, and I'm not sure about cloning this one to the new DME, because if this isn't operable, I wonder if we're going to be able to get the information off of it. You can see even that there's definitely corrosion in the pins here, so that might be where the water first leaked in, but I don't know if these things are 100% sealed, because they do have little cracks in the casing here. So not a perfect design, but about as good as it can get, and definitely not enough for the Florida weather patterns. So unfortunately, that's going to conclude our video for today, but as always, I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and let me know what you guys think of this issue down below, if I'm going to be able to get the DME to work again by just letting it sit in some rice, although I don't think that's going to be possible at all. But let me know if you're excited for this build. I can't wait to get my hands deep and dirty with this 535xi. I think it's like the kind of consumer grade, or what you could get here in the States instead of a 335i wagon, so I can't wait to compare it to my 335i wagon as well, and just decide which is better. You know, eventually we'll have to make a video that's like E61 versus E91, you know, which is the cooler wagon from that generation, that era of BMW. So I can't wait to give all this content to you guys, and hopefully keep the E61 with us long term, because I think it's going to be a great road trip car. Just imagine having like one of those luggage boxes on top of the roof. That would make it such a cool looking build. But anyways, be sure to leave a like or a comment down below if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new and you haven't yet, and as always, everyone has an amazing day. We'll see you next time.